Hey everybody, Christian from Treasure Town here, and today I'm going to be presenting on the top 10 most valuable Buffalo Nickel heirs, varieties, and key dates. So you could maybe find these in a cherry picking of a dealer's box or in your collection or really anywhere, and it's just good to know about the valuable varieties in the Buffalo Nickel series. We start out number 10 with the 24S semi-key date. So there are a couple just valuable dates I'm going to be talking about, and this is the least valuable of them in the series. The 24S is worth about $40 in like an 8, and then it ranges up to $12.50 in 53, so that's a significant increase, and then the high end can be up to $20,000. So, I mean, something that's at least $40, but it's not like untangible or intangible. I have found these in collections before, or in like rolls, so it's definitely a doable one to find, and it's worth mentioning, worth knowing about. Different type of number 9, the 1935P double die reverse. Very common date, but the value's in an error. As you can see, the double die is pretty prominent along the N, E. I mean, it's really a relatively strong double, and it's a cool thing to find because 35, there's a lot of 1935 Buffalo nickels, especially 1935P, and you can still see the error in a relatively circulated grade. As you can see in here, it's not really a brilliantly struck coin, definitely exhibiting some signs of wear. And the prices on this, like $50 in an 8, so if it's circulated, probably looking about $50. And then similar, if you get up into the AU grades, it's about $1,200, and then at the high end, can be all the way up to $100,000. So that's some serious money, but it's really difficult to find this in such high conditions. But I mean, still $50 for a 35 Buffalo nickel, I'll take that any day. Number 8, another semi-key date, 1926S. I actually found one of these in the huge collection search, and I found many of them working in the coin shop in the past. $50 in 8 condition, 2,000, so a little more of a hike in the AU 53 range. And then apparently the high end of this is in the 300,000s. That's some crazy money, but I mean, really the thing to think about is just in circulated condition, that's definitely still worth some solid money. $50 again, that's like nothing to laugh at. And then our last 20S date is the 21S semi-key date. So it's 21, 24, 26S are the ones in the 20s to really look out for. And I'm just going to give you the prices. About $75 in good, $1,000 in AU, or $75 in very good, and then $40,000 is the high end. So the high end kind of varies on these, but the thing to know is just that you should be looking for these dates. Always pluck it out. It's, at worst, it's going to be much more valuable than the average Buffalo nickel. Number 6 is our last key date, and then we'll start going into different types of varieties. But it's a 1913S Type 2 key date. $225 is the VG8 kind of pricing. It doesn't jump as much in the AU. 650 is about the number that we're talking about, and then 50,000 when it's super valuable. My guess is that it's not as expensive in the AU because a lot of people realized that this was going to be a variety. It's a first year from the S Mint, so probably a couple more taken out of circulation and preserved just as collector pieces from the outset, versus something like a 26S where people aren't looking at that like a collector variety. Number 5, we have the 1914 over 3P overdate. So it's kind of a difficult error to explain. I'm going to do my best, but you might want to look it up more after this. But the 14 over 3 nickel it's like a result of a master die being hubbed by 2 different dated master hubs. So every working hub made from the master die and every working die made from those working hubs are overdated dies. So this was an online explanation I found. Basically, I think it means that there's a huge number of 14 over 13, because it's not like a strike error. It's like within the coin. I think I'm explaining this correctly, and I admit when I don't exactly know, but I mean, there's some doubling clearly here, but it's not like it's like a blatant 3 that you can see. It's more of, you can see the rounded corner here, which is clearly raised, and again up here There's also, it looks like it's a doubled 4 almost, but basically the other thing that has happened is that I think PCGS has stopped like certifying the error. There's like the FS 101, which is always like the super like, it's like the commonly known error, I think. And they do certify some really strong examples, but I think there's a ton of 1914 over 3 Buffalo nickels out there. But that's my basic attempt at an explanation. Basically, look out for funny look 1914 Buffalo nickels. If it's really pronounced, you could be looking at something like $300 in like an 8, 2,000 in the AU range, and up to 60,000 if it's a really nice coin. But I mean, again, you can see that this is prominent. People kind of, this is like, it's a worn coin. You can see in the face of the buffalo, this is a worn coin, and you can still detect an error. Now, the next one you probably know, 1937D, 3-legged error, kind of I'm trying to think, like the spotlight error, like the really well-known one, and it's basically this 4 leg is just missing on the buffalo. There's a lot of fakes of these, so you have to be watch out about. There's a bunch of like discussion about genuine versus non-authentic counterfeit ones, because this is a $500 coin, 800 in AU, and then up to 100,000 if it's super new. But I mean, $500, that's a big fine. You probably already know about this error, but it's just good to remind you. And then to go along with that, number 3 is our 3060 3.5-legged error. So this is a little more difficult to diagnose, but basically this leg, it's like a half leg is missing. So it's, I don't know if it's like a really worn die or a poor strike, but regardless, it's not a clear strike here in the 4th leg, the frontmost leg is just kind of not there, and it's not sharply struck or whatever. And this is worth a little bit more, about $700, because it's more rare, by far more rare. $700 in a VG8, and then 4,000 in AU, and 15,000 in, at its top. But there's very few of these recognized. Not something you're likely to find, but if there's like a really weak front leg on a 36D, you could be having some real money, and it's good to just know about. This is, I was surprised at my relative lack of knowledge before starting this. I hadn't heard of either number 2 or number 1, but number 2 is our 18 over 17D overdate, worth $800 minimum. It's a really clear, really easy to identify one. There's like a 7 clearly protruding out from under the 8. You can see it on a worn coin here. It's a clear corner in the 8. 8s don't have corners. And then you're looking at 15,000 in AU, 350,000 at the max. But take a closer look at those 1918Ds. You could be finding yourself with one of these. I think I rhymed that. I'm a poet and I was not aware. My uncle says that it's supposed to be poet, didn't know it or something like that. But sorry for the digression. On to number 1. Number 1, we have 1916 over 16 double die. So again, a really clear error. You're going to see it if it's there. Look at this worn buffalo nickel. Still has a clear 6 protruding under the original 1916 strike, and here it's more in an AU. This is real money. 4 figures for a coin that's in this type of condition. $5,000. Get to AU, 30,000, and even higher. The best stuff is about $250,000. But 1916, if you have them, just look a little bit closer. You never know what you might find. And that brings us to the conclusion of this presentation. My hope is that some viewer out there, or I guess multiple of them, will be able to identify one of these coins, whether it's a semi-key or it's a key date or it's one of these really rare varieties. Best of luck finding. If you enjoyed the video, please like. If you haven't already, subscribe. Comment. Let me know. Let me know if there's like a coin that you want me to do. Be on the lookout for all my other videos, and have a great day.